Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome to Ordinary to Badass, episode number 94. In this episode, you'll be hearing from Katie Cheetah. We talk all about Katie's experiences in the military, leadership roles, and how she went from being in the military to becoming a virtual assistant. So hang on for that interview because I know that you're going to love it. So I just wanted to give you a couple updates so that you're in the loop about what's going on around O2B. And first, I don't know if I've shared this, but I am working on a book. It's going to be a financial book, and it's going to be, the main title is going to be Ordinary to Badass Budgeting or Ordinary to Badass Personal Finances. Still tweaking the tagline a little bit, but I would definitely love for your feedback on that. Head on over to the Ordinary to Badass Facebook group, because sometimes we do polls in there. I want to help you to accomplish your badass dreams and your badass vision. And if it's financial, I know that this book will definitely serve you. If you're not aware, I had paid off $106,000 in just under 2 years. So I share in the book how I did that. And also I tried to simplify and use in just plain language, like plain English, what the process is and how to do it so that it's not some difficult thing. I swear I break it down, make it super simple so it's not so much about the numbers and doesn't feel so stressful and overwhelming. So if you want to be a part of that, help give me feedback, be along the journey with me as I'm writing this book. I'm already on the editing process of it, have sent it to an editor, and then finishing up edits myself, and then we'll go from there. So like when I do book cover and need feedback on that, I would love to have you, and I want your feedback. I want your input. All right, join the Ordinary to Badass Facebook group today. Lastly, if you love the Ordinary to Badass podcast, I would be so grateful if you went on over to iTunes and left a 5-star rating and review. That way, other badasses just like you can find the podcast. Then, of course, screenshot it, send it to me on Instagram at Ordinary to Badass so that I can say thank you because I appreciate it. I know that you're busy and you have a lot of stuff going on. So when you take the time to leave a rating or review, it means the world to me. So send it to me on Instagram, like throw it in your stories and send it to me on Instagram at Ordinary to Badass. I would be so grateful. All right, with that, let's hear from Katie. Welcome to Ordinary to Badass. Whether you're ordinary or badass, I'm glad you're here. Today's guest is Katie Cheetah. Katie, thank you so much for being on the show. Excited to have you here.
I am excited to be here and thank you for the opportunity.
So before we go any further, I've got to ask you, do you consider yourself ordinary or badass?
Most of the time I consider myself ordinary, but sometimes I consider myself a badass.
So can you give an example of when you feel badass?
Mostly whenever I feel like I'm actually crushing everything, like things are in line and I'm making progress, whether it be my personal life or my business.
So generally when you're crushing things, like do things come easy to you, or is it when you've kind of worked hard and had to push past some stuff to get there?
Most of the time whenever it's easy, but the times that I've really had to work and do everything I can to excel at the task at hand, that also makes me feel, badass as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself so we can learn about you?
Well, my name is Katie Cheetah, and I am a stay-at-home mom turned virtual assistant slash social media manager for veteran-owned businesses and other small businesses. Um, I It's always been a dream to become a virtual assistant, and I've just been working at making it that way. I started out in the military as soon as I graduated high school, and from there, I've just done, was in the military for 8 years. And then after that, I did small odd jobs and then became a mom and stayed at home for 4 years.
So for people who don't know, can you share what a VA is?
VA is a virtual assistant. It varies extensively as to what you can do. You can do just a basic admin job all the way to social media management, or there's so many specialties under a virtual assistant. It just depends on what you're good at, what you like to do, and how you want to obtain it.
And so is most of that virtual then? I mean, I know that sounds like a silly question,
Yes.
but like done at home or done from your own location. So,
Yes. Most of it is. There are some cases where if you're in the area of the client that you're working for, you can meet up face to face to go over things, but 99% of the time, it's all virtual.
okay. So you'd mentioned earlier a little bit about going into the military after you graduated high school. What led you to join the military?
I grew up mostly, my family wasn't rich, but we weren't entirely poor either. And so I knew it'd be a struggle to get the funding needed to go to school, or else I'd be in a lot of debt. So I decided, with majority of my mom's side of the family and some of my dad's side of the family being in the military, I decided to follow the footsteps of my military family members. And I joined the Army Reserves and went from there, worked on a college degree. I did end up getting a criminal justice degree, but I haven't ever really used it. I worked in criminal justice for a little bit, but it just was not my forte. It didn't mesh with my way of thinking and their way of thinking.
And what was that like for you?
Most of the time it was stressful. Well, which part? I'm sorry, which part?
Well, when your way of thinking didn't match their way of thinking.
Oh, it was mostly, sometimes I felt like they did things that were morally wrong, and like they would do certain tasks or something that I didn't feel were quite right. And of course, anytime it got reported, it just got brushed off. It's like, oh, well, that's Officer so-and-so, that's just how they work. And so we're not going to do anything about it because it's not technically breaking any rules or laws or anything. And so it ended up being very stressful. So by the time got to a point, I was like, I can't do this anymore, and just got out of it.
Right. Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like being a female in the military?
It wasn't, I actually had no issues being in the military as a female. I know some people who have had quite a few issues, ranging from being harassed to some assault and stuff, but I never had that. The worst part that I had was when I was deployed over in Iraq, and I was the only one from my unit with the unit that we deployed with. And the sergeant there really didn't care for me because also, well, we're not supposed to be judgmental or biased towards people. I was the only white person in the group. all of them were Hispanic and all of them were from California, and I just didn't fit in with them. And so anytime anybody got in trouble, whether it be me or one of my fellow teammates, I was the one that always got blamed. And so it came down to the punishments were, oh, you got extra duty doing this or doing that. And of course, my battle buddy that was with me at the time, she resented me quite a bit. We did not get along. And that was something that dealing with a sergeant of that type got me into wanting to become a sergeant myself so that I could help lead other soldiers, lower enlisted soldiers, and hopefully try to keep them away from people who were like that, so that they didn't feel neglected, or that they didn't want to get to the point where they just didn't want to eat, they didn't want to do anything. They did the very basic or very minimum of their job, and they would just isolate themselves.
So I know that it sounds like you joined the military pretty young. What did you learn about yourself through that process?
Mostly I learned that it takes a lot to be a leader. While it took me a little bit, because I was meek, I was timid, I really hadn't been out in the real world or anything. And so I had to figure out, the best way to be a great leader and become stronger in myself. And so that's what I've taken, what I learned through the military, and applying it to my business has helped a lot, because I've taken the leadership, the good leadership that I learned, and even the bad leadership. I mean, it's all a learning experience from good to bad, and used it to work on my business and to grow my business, because I learned what it takes to be out there, but be I'm trying to think, I'm losing my wording.
Well, I think it's so important, like you said, that you learn from the good leaders as well as the bad leaders. You can let that teach you, what you want to do and what not to do.
Yes, that's very true. Yes, you can. Most definitely, because from the good leaders, you get good results. You have participation, you have people who want to follow you and do what you ask them to do. Whereas you have bad leaders, they resent you, they don't want to work with you, they do everything they can to stay away from you and
right.
not participate.
Right. And then, I mean, that doesn't really help the team at all. Like whatever mission you guys are trying to accomplish, it doesn't help when things are separated.
Right.
So
yes. And it's the same with business. You have one bad leader, and it's just, you're going to end up with all the good people who can do the job. They're going to be like, I can't work with you. So they're going to go find something that's more enjoyable, not as stressful, and they'll work somewhere else, and they'll leave you with the other bad apples, and you're never going to accomplish anything.
Right. So Katie, let's talk a little bit about your wins. Can you share with us something that you're most proud of accomplishing?
Can this be either personal or business?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. A win, I would have to say I have a couple of wins. My first win is actually making it through basic training. When I first arrived in Fort Jackson, I ended up getting sick, and it took me down because I didn't take time off to let myself heal, because it's basic training. You don't do that. And so I got really sick. And I got to the point where it was to the point when I finally went to the medical, get seen by medical. They told me, they said, if you would have not come in, probably in 5 days, you probably would not be here because you were so sick. And so I made it through that. And then I ended up, because not just because I missed training with my unit or my group, it also, my strength was gone. So I actually had to recycle and I had to go back through basic training again. And so I would have to say my win is actually making it through basic training and passing the course and being in the military for as long as I was. A business win would probably be finishing a course, setting up my business, and getting my first client. I have several now, but probably the win was finishing that course and getting a client the day that I finished the course as well.
Awesome. So let's go back to that day in basic training where you had to be recycled. What was that like for you, and kind of what did that do to your headspace or your mindset?
It was, while I knew the reasoning behind it, it was still kind of devastating, because it's like, oh, I don't get to graduate with the people that I spent the last 3 months with, and they get to go on, they get to continue with their training and go to their stations and stuff. And so I get to deal with all these new people coming in and not either having some form, maybe ROTC or a Civil Air Patrol type training, but coming in not knowing anything, which I ended up being what the drill sergeants called a suicide watch person, because in the new group that I was in, or because they recycled me and I had to go to a different company. And so in the new company that I was in, they ended up having actually several people that got put on suicide watch. So I'm sitting there going, okay, I have to watch you, which means I didn't really get to sleep much. I had to trade off shifts with other people to get sleep. It was very interesting. Luckily, one of the drill sergeants from my former company had become the first sergeant of the new company, because my drill sergeant, my head drill sergeant thought that I was a spy. It was very interesting, but I was a spy in her group. And so she kind of had it out for me, but due to the fact of having the other former drill sergeant, now first sergeant, come over with me and know who I was, it just made her madder, because anytime she would do something, he's like, no, that's not right. And so she'd get mad.
Right.
But that was, surprisingly, I had a decent time during that, because the first sergeant also made a kind of deal with me. He's like, look, I want to get you out of here. He's like, I know you're a good soldier, but we got to get your strength back up. So what I want you to do is, whenever you see me, especially out on the range, like whenever we went to do all the qualifications, he's like, I want you to do 50 setups. Every time I pass by you, you do 50 setups. And I was like, okay. So, but he made my life miserable. One day I did 150 setups in probably about a 3-hour time span, because he was doing it on purpose, but he had good intentions.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, sometimes it's like that's the very person that helps you get through it, like the one that knows is what you're capable of and pushes you to do more.
Yes. Yeah, it was it was definitely a challenge, but it was also a great learning experience. It was a learning experience of what kind of people were out there.
Right.
You got the ones that are really laid back. They don't care whether you make it or not. And then you got the ones that want you to make it. They want you to succeed in everything you do in your life. And then you got the ones that absolutely, they just, for some reason, they dislike you with everything they have. And it's like, what did I do to you? I don't even know you.
Which is like life, right? No matter what you do, people are going to like you or not like you,
Yes, very true.
So what's something that most people don't know about what it took for you to get through boot camp?
Probably, actually, my mom didn't even know I was sick. I kept it from her, and luckily the my former company commander and drill sergeants allowed her to come to the graduation ceremony, even though I didn't get to graduate from the first one. And she's like, oh my gosh, because I was heavy set whenever I went in. And because of the sickness and not being able to eat much and losing the weight and the body mass and stuff, I was super skinny. And so when she got there, she didn't realize exactly what had happened or anything. And her and my dad and some of my other family members, they're pretty much the only ones that know that I went through a lot just to get through basic training, just because I got sick.
Right. And then, so you didn't tell them when you were sick actually at boot camp? Did you wait till graduation? Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
What was behind that decision? Was it just not wanting them to worry?
Pretty much. Yeah. Cause I was, I don't know exactly how far South Carolina is, South Carolina is from Texas, but it was a couple of thousand, or at least between 1,500 and 2,000 miles from home. And it just, they would probably be worried, are you okay? Are you doing this? And with not being able to call home except for set times and writing letters, and of course the letters taking a couple of days to get places, I just didn't want them to worry.
Right. So we know life isn't all gumdrops and lollipops. Like, there's struggles usually along our path. Can you share with us a struggle that you had? And it could be military, it could just be as a mom, it could be a business, up to you.
Probably one of the biggest struggles I had was when I was in Iraq, and I hit that point of every time I turned around, I kept getting in trouble. It didn't matter what I said, what I did, I was always the one at fault. And I'm like, okay, well, this was not me this time. So I got into kind of a depression, and I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to exercise. I did bare minimum that I had to do with my work. And with the restrictions that my sergeant was putting on me at the time, it was hard because I didn't get along with the people in my group, but I had several great friends in different units that were there on the FOB with us, and I couldn't see them, I couldn't talk to them or anything, so it made it extremely hard. So I just got to the point where I don't care, I don't even care if a mortar or a rocket or whatever comes in and lands right where I'm standing. And so that's probably the hardest thing that I had ever been through. Just getting to that point where I felt like nobody cared about me, and I wasn't anywhere near, family or good friends or anything like that. So it was just, I felt like I was alone. But I think what got me through it is that one friend did, he, no matter what, he kept coming. He brought me food. He's like, hey, I got food at your door. And he's like, I got food at your door. Come out and eat it. And he's like, I don't care. He's like, I just picked up a lot of things for you. Just come out and eat. And he's like, I know I can't see you, but I can talk to you through Messenger. And so he's like, just get your head up. Things will get better. You only have, I think at that time we had maybe 5 months left there out of the 9-month tour that we went on. And he's like, you'll be fine. He's like, don't worry. Your sergeant's going to take leave here shortly. And once that happens, things can get back to semi-normal. And then, he was pretty much the only one that got me through it at the time.
Yeah. And I think that's so powerful. And that's even something that people could use now. Because you don't have to be overseas, but like even with coronavirus, people are struggling not being able to be around their loved ones or see people. But maybe you could if you could put it in your head, okay, this is only for a short time, but then also be looking out for your people. Like if you know
Mhm.
one of your friends is struggling, to reach out or talk to them on Messenger or Zoom or something like that. I think that's cool.
Mhm.
So,
Yes.
how did you come out of that? I know you just talked about your friend helping you, but is there anything that you did yourself to help you kind of come out of that? I don't know if it was a depression, but just that funk.
Um, I I think being able to, because I would at the time, even though it was slightly expensive, I was able to call home. I had the ability with a little internet type fob thing that I could call home. And I think being able to get to call home or at least email home. And I did get to talk to, I had another friend that was at home that I got to call and talk to every now and then. And I think that really helped. I think that really helped being able to do that, being able to talk to my friends, being able to talk to my parents and things and letting them know, hey, everything's still good over here. We're not, nothing too weird's happening or anything.
Right, right. Yeah, sometimes it's just as simple as a phone call. I see your little ones there. They're so cute. um,
Yeah.
but I mean, for the O to be listeners, this is how badass Katie. Oh, I should have watched my language with the kids around. Sorry, but this is. Oh yeah, good. You have your headphones in. This is how badass Katie is. Like she has a business, she's available to do the podcast, and she has little ones, but she's making it happen and squeezing it in where she can. So I love that. Katie, can you share with us a time where you gave up, but now you wish you wouldn't have?
Um, I was trying to think. Probably, probably actually was going back to school right after I got back from Iraq. I went one direction in school and I should have gone another direction. I had a friend that I was talking with at the time, and he was in the degree that I wanted to be in because I wanted to be in computer science. And because he had it, I was talking to him and I was like, hey, he's like, look, I'm really interested in computer science and it's really interesting. And he's like, oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that. And I really regret listening to them and not at least giving it a try. Not giving it a try of just testing the waters, seeing if maybe I actually didn't like it. But yeah, that's one story that I was like, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, and I think that that's easy to happen, just to kind of listen to the people around you. What would you say to someone else who's kind of having the same debate right now?
I would say go for it. At least try it. Don't hold yourself back. Don't let other people say you can't do something when you feel like that's something you can do. I know it's difficult because they're like, oh, don't do it, and you're like, oh, but this is kind of what I'm looking at.
Right.
And they're like, oh, but it's hard. Well, sure, it might have been hard for them, but maybe it's super simple for you or easy for you, and you just breeze through it with no problems.
Yeah, that's a good point. And yeah, we often think like, if it was easy for them, it's easy for me, or if it was hard for them, it was hard for me. But you're right, it's not always the case, and maybe you're cutting yourself short by not giving it a try. So did you say you have 3 kids? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you ever struggled with mom guilt?
Most definitely. And especially recently, because it seems like, well, also with not being able to take them anywhere while things are starting to kind of open up, it's kind of hard because it's like, oh, well, they so many protocols you have to follow. So it's like, yeah, it's like, oh, I wish I could take you there today, but I can't because I have this meeting or I got this document that's due or something like that. But yes, most definitely. There are times that I have it. I even had it before I had the business with certain things because I always you always want to give your kids, or try to give your kids, everything you can and every part of you. But whenever certain things come up and you just can't, and of course they're in your ear going, Mama, can I do this? Mama, can I do that? Mama, let's go do this. And you're like, I can't do that right now. And they're like, well, why not? Can we? Okay, well, in a minute. And I'm like, no, not right now.
So what do you do to overcome that, or to deal with it when you're feeling that mom guilt?
I tried to take some extra time, figure out where I'm going to have time at, or, a lag in work, or a lag in household chores, and take them for a walk around the block, or go outside and play in our backyard, or just something to you. I hear you. I understand you want to do things. So let's go do this. And of course, by that time, they're like, well, I don't want to do it. And I'm like, well, you're getting it. So come on.
Whether you like it or not. So let's let's pivot and talk a little bit about your mindset. Tell me about your mindset and how it has led to your badassery.
I just keep chipping away at building, I just keep chipping away at building my business, at building my relationship with my kids as they grow, because they keep changing. And as I'm watching them grow, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're learning so much, and it's like, you're still supposed to be my little baby,
Right.
So, but as far as mindset, I just figured out, just slowly working my way through, and knowing that everything that I set my mind to is possible. It might be hard, it might not be easy, but it's going to work.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's undervalued, is the chipping away. Like you said, we always think that something's going to happen overnight, like, oh, I just want this to happen when I wake up tomorrow, or just right away, and see results right away. But it's like the constant chipping away where you actually end up seeing most of the success, or that's been my experience anyway. Has that been yours?
Yes, most definitely. You can't, well, it would be awesome. You can't sit there and expect, you're like, okay, I started my business, I'm going to have 5 clients tomorrow morning. And whenever you just made one post about, like, hey guys, I'm just letting you know that I created my business. Here's my website. Here's my social media. And then you think you're going to wake up tomorrow morning and you're going to have 5 to 10 clients like, hey, I'm ready to sign up with you. And and not quite, it doesn't quite work that way.
It would be nice though.
Yes.
Can you share one of your mindset hacks for confidence and self-esteem?
I would have to say that when I kind of get stuck, I turn to a couple of people I follow. One of them is a copywriter, and it seems like she can kind of read my mind at times when she sends her emails, or when she posts something on social media. She's kind of the person I go to, because just the way she words things. It's really relevant. And then some other ones are, sometimes if I feel like I'm really getting in a rut and not making progress in anything, and my mindset's like, oh, I can't do this because I'm tired, or I can't do this because the kids are screaming, I kind of just take whatever's bugging me at the time, and if it's the kids, if I can get them calmed down and happy, then I can kind of relax and go back to work. But if it's something with work, or some other thing, even with the household chores, I just take a break, go maybe spend 5-10 minutes reading a book, whatever. Right now I'm not reading any books, but I go read a book that might just take my mind away from it, and get my mind off of the situation that's causing my issues, and then come back and be a little more refreshed, and then see if that works. And if it doesn't, then I figure out something else, maybe take a walk, get some fresh air.
Yeah. And I think I used to be better at doing that, and kind of got away from it, but that's a good reminder, because that's always it used to be so helpful for me to, take some time away, just stop thinking about it, and then you can come back refreshed. So I like that. Do
Mhm.
you have a mind or a mantra or meditation practice?
Not really. I mean, sometimes in the morning I'll get up and I'll read the daily scriptures, but it's not as constant as I would like it to be. Um, but so it's not a everyday deal that I get up and or even evening where I sit down and read something. But I need to get better at it.
Do you notice a difference when you do?
I do. I feel more relaxed. Just kind of either ready for the day or ready for bed, depending on when I read it.
Right, right. All right. So let's go ahead and pivot and talk about badass advice, and this will be a little bit more rapid fire. What was your turning point for accomplishing your goals and becoming a total badass?
With the military, it would be with the first sergeant and following his advice with my business, completing that virtual assistant course I went through and having my first client the day that I've completed the course.
Yeah, that's such a huge win because, like you said, it doesn't always happen like that. What's one thing that you've learned from a woman in your life?
That we can do anything.
Absolutely.
Really and truly. Yeah, we can do anything.
Katie, can you share a habit or a practice that's contributed to your success?
I would have to say keeping notes, or keeping a keeping a journal of like 3 good things that happened and 3 things that I could improve on. That's really helped. It's like, oh, okay, great. I did this, I did these 3 great things in my business. I keep a business one and a personal one.
Oh, nice. And so every day you
Mhm.
write down 3 things that you can improve on. Is that right?
Yes.
How often do you read, and can you recommend a book and share why?
Yeah, sometimes it's kind of a season, I guess you could say, for me when I read books. I really haven't gotten into too many business books. One that I had been working on was you don't I think it's You Don't Need Money by Bob Proctor, or Money Doesn't, I can't remember the exact title, but it's by Bob Proctor.
Okay.
Um, and I was reading on that one recently, but I kind of stepped away from it for my just to kind of clear my head space and everything. I read Janet Ivanovich, Stephanie Plum novels. They just, because they're hilarious and you can kind of relate to Stephanie in some ways. It's just who I read those and some other murder mystery novels.
So it's Stephanie Plum novels, is that right?
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I will look those up and add them to the show notes. Let's end with a tip to encourage women who are in the arena fighting for the life that they want.
Keep going. It may be hard, it may be easy. It just depends. And find your group. Once you find your group, you can make great strides. It may take you a while to find it, but once you find it, you can make great strides with at least connecting with other business owners or even other moms, and you can bounce ideas off of each other, you can support each other, and they don't always have to be a client, but you can definitely client or customer, you can definitely learn from each other and just keep going. Don't let anybody make you feel anything less of yourself.
Yes, I love that. And Katie, how can we connect with you?
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, or my website. They're all KRT Virtual Assistant. Facebook is just facebook.com/KRT Virtual Assistant. Instagram is instagram.com/virtual assistant. And then my website's www.krtvirtualassistant.com. And that's where you can mostly find me at. And
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Katie. You've been a total badass and I've enjoyed hearing your story.
thank you. I've enjoyed sharing it.
With that, we'll end our show. To all the badass women out there staying in the arena, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, own it and get after it. All right, how did you like the episode? Here are just a couple of takeaways that I got from the episode. One, if you don't like the leadership around you, change it. Become a leader yourself. Listen to your cheerleaders, not your haters. Also, listen to your gut and what's telling you over what others tell you is possible. Keep a journal of 3 good things that happened and 3 improvements every day. Write down 3 things that happened that were great and then 3 things that you can improve upon. If you want to chat more about this, I'll catch you in the Ordinary to Badass Facebook group.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast, and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass and get the chance to be on a future spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.